Good afternoon. My name is Alma Jordon, and we are at the U.S. Colored Truth Interpretive Center in Lexington Park. This is the building for UCAC, the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions. And I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Forrest, Francis, and Margaret. And today is March 26, 2024. And we are planning to talk about their business today. Can you give me your name and where you live, Margaret?
Margaret Cecilia Forrest. I live at 23835 in Leonardtown, Maryland.
And my name is Francis Forrest Sr., but I prefer to be called Bert, B-E-R-T. And I take that nickname after a very famous barber in St. Mary's County, a businessman who inspired us. So I just thought I'd put that in.
Would you like to share his name?
His name was Bert Langley. And my given name is Francis. And of course, being the youngest of 5 children, I was teased a bit about that name. And Bert, as I said, used to cut our hair, and I thought he was the greatest guy in the world. And I said, I want to be named Bert. And it just took, and everybody started calling me Bert after that, and that's what I've always gone by.
Okay, thank you. That's a very interesting bit of history. Can you share the name of your business and how you got started?
Yeah. Our business is named Forrest Dental Laboratory, after us. And the business got, I don't know how, it's kind of a long story leading up to how it got started, but we have both attended public schools in St. Mary's County. We attended a Banneker school, which was a segregated school at that time, from grades 1 through 12. And Margaret attended, go ahead, you.
St. Joseph's Catholic School. They switched over to Banneker in 6th grade.
Yeah. And as I said, we attended Banneker, and then I make a long story short, the schools were integrated. Didn't just happen like that, but to make the story a little more compact, we ended up going to Chopticon High School. Both of us went to Chopticon High School. I'll kind of skip a little bit, but they had a career day at Chopticon High School. And young gentlemen came to Chopticon High School from the Career Academy School of Dental Technology in Washington, D.C. They did a presentation. He had a very nice video. And I always, in school, at Banneker, I played in the school band. Margaret was also in the school band. And I excelled in art and carving and sculpting. Those kind of things just came naturally to me. And I knew when I saw this video about dental technology that that was the career for me. And I came home and talked to my mom and dad. As John Lancaster liked to say, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of the short story of how I ended up going to school for dental technology.
And let me add that we were among the first students to integrate Chopticon High School.
Well, you know, when you got to give you a little background. I don't know if you would say we integrated the school, because the school was built. At that time, the philosophy in St. Mary's was, especially for that end of the county, of course, the Great Mills integration process was a little bit different from ours, but they combined Leonardtown High School, Banneker School, and Margaret Brent School they built one high school, and all of the upperclassmen, I think it was from the 10th, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, all attended Chaptacon High School. It made the integration process a lot smoother because the school did not have a history with any particular group. So that made, at least in my opinion, that made the integration process go much more smoothly. So that's kind of how that worked out.
Okay. So when, tell me when you started the business.
I'll let my wife answer some.
It was in 1979. He had finished up his apprenticeships and stuff after he got out of the dental technology school, and he went to work for several different labs over the years. And he came home one day and said, "Hey, I think I'd like to start a business here in the county. They don't have anything like this here." I said, "Okay." And
at that time, we were living in
Landover, Maryland.
Landover. We were living in Landover, Maryland at that time, and we decided to move back to St. Mary's.
Another contributing factor to that was that our children were getting ready, at least Michelle was getting ready to start school, and we wanted to be able to have them start school here where we knew we had family.
We needed good, cheap child care, and my mom was available.
And my sister-in-law on the weekends.
So that's how that came about. Yeah, we moved back. Another little interesting side bit was that my grandfather, Charles Forrest, had passed away, and he lived in a little trailer, you know, small trailer, but it was large enough. And he left the trailer to me in his will. And so the trailer was perfect size to start the laboratory. So the trailer was in Ridge, Maryland, and we moved the trailer to Leonardtown, and we stripped the inside out and put in shelving and desk, and my older brother, James, what we called him Jimmy, was kind enough to help us purchase some of the laboratory equipment that we needed. So like with all people, I shouldn't say with all people, for us, we had a lot of help in doing this. It's not just something that...
It was like it was meant to be,
you know, that we just did this all on our own. We had a great deal of help.
And I was still working at the time for the federal government, so we had backup funds.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you tell me about your schooling, your dental schooling?
Okay, all right. Well, as I said, I went to school in Washington, D.C. It was a 12-month course, and we covered all of the basics that were done in a dental laboratory, from making full dentures to cast metal frameworks, some orthodontic appliance work, and some crown and bridge work. We covered the basics of all of that. And one of the things that I really liked about the school was they helped you to find an apprenticeship, which I guess today what is it called today? Not apprenticeship, but an intern. Yes, interns.
Okay.
Well, in any case, it's real cheap labor, you know. So I ended up doing a one-year apprenticeship for a dental laboratory in Silver Spring, Wayne and Capone Dental Laboratory. And I worked there for a year. I completed my apprenticeship. They liked what I did. I was hired full-time, and I worked there for 4 years. I ended up running their cast framework department. There was me and 2 other guys in the department. So that was the basics of my education in dental technology.
So share with me what actual services you provide
Okay, all right. Well, I gave you a little bit, our business plan was that we would provide service to the dentist in St. Mary's, Charles, and Calvin counties. At that time, there were no other dental laboratories serving Southern Maryland. And the only competition would be mail order dental laboratories. So we, as I said, we make full dentures, we make cast metal frameworks, we do partial dentures, orthodontic appliance work. We repair and reline and do maintenance work on all those types of appliances.
So if you break a tooth or something like that, he repairs that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you mentioned your actual dental plan. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I guess I would say when you and I kind of get this from my good friend Alma Brown. You know, our plan is basically what I said, but it's a living plan. It evolves as you evolve and as the needs evolve. I honestly would tell you that when I was in school and when I first started working, the way dentistry was practiced then and the way it is practiced today, it's like a whole new world. And I'm sure you as a patient, you know, when I was in training, a big deal was impression taking and how impressions were taken. Today, they don't take impressions anymore. It's all digital. They scan your mouth and they send that impression anywhere in the world. I mean, when you stop and think about that, how that changes the business of so many laboratories. Because back in the day, you based a lot, especially for smaller labs, based on the number of doctors who were in your immediate vicinity. But now, that is out the window. You know, it's any doctor, anywhere in the world. But of course, you have to have the wherewithal to buy the equipment of today. And it is not cheap. So
back in the day, with regards to the way that people, the dentists would have to send stuff away, was with the Greyhound bus. Used to come through Leonardtown, they put the stuff on it and send it to wherever up in the city.
That's how we received our supplies. Was on Greyhound. There was no UPS.
FedEx.
There was no FedEx, you know. That was how it was done.
Yeah.
So again, you have to be ready to change as the times and technology change.
So at the time when you started your business, then the uniqueness of your business was the fact that there were no labs here.
Right. That was one of the basic premises of what we were doing. But again, you know, you're talking, you know, 40 or 45 years ago. Then not only were there no labs here, there weren't a lot of dentists here either. When I imagine when we first opened, if there may have been 6 practicing dentists in St. Mary's County. And today, you have some dental offices that have 4 or 5 doctors practicing in the same practice. So that, you know, really is, you have to take that into consideration when you're talking about, you know, your business plan and how your business operates.
And the adjustment has been, because of those types of changes and stuff, that he can turn stuff around in 24
Yeah,
hours.
right.
If you break a
Yeah.
denture, you lose a tooth, the doctor's call. And since I retired, I become his other delivery person.
So still a large part of what we do is the fact that we are here and we can provide services that even though you can take an impression and send it anywhere in the world, there are some things that you can't send. It still has to be done the old-fashioned way, and we are here to do that.
Right, like there's somebody who's going to a wedding recently down in Florida, broke his tooth on a Wednesday, and he wanted to have it before he went.
Yeah.
So that meant, you know, a lot of nighttime overwork and stuff like that, but he got it done.
Well,
so.
we do a lot of that. And also, I often get asked, why don't you guys do more crown and bridge work? But when we opened our business in St. Mary's County, people could not afford crown and bridge in St. Mary's County. In St. Mary's County, folks at that time and still today, they do partial dentures or full dentures. That is a large part of what we still do because of the economics. So, you know, that's
Adjusted
what we
his
do.
time
Yeah.
necessary.
So, do you have any employees that assist you in your business?
Over the years, at one time, we had 3 employees working with us.
Plus me.
Yeah, yeah. And that was when I was younger and when we were thinking of going in other directions. But over the years, I still have one guy who works with me full time.
And me.
And of course my wife. But that suits us at this point. You know, we like that size. It fits what we do. So yeah. So we do, as I said, we had the one full-time employee and of course Margaret.
I'm the bookkeeper and the part-time delivery person.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, so your customers are basically the dentists in the area.
That is correct. That's the only customers that we have. Legally, a dental laboratory cannot work on patients. We don't see patients. But of course, I often get calls. You know, at one time, I hate to, but at one time, dentists legally could not advertise. This was been since I was practicing. And now you go to the movies and you see doctors advertising, you know, in the movie theaters. They send out flyers. But at one time, that was against the law for doctors. I mean, this is, you know, like I said, 35, 40 years ago.
Well, can you advertise?
I advertise to dentists, but I don't advertise to the public.
Right.
Correct.
So, basically, your company, your business is local, basically.
Yes.
To the St. Mary's, Charles,
And Calvary. Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do you, at this point, have any plans to grow your business even more?
At this point, actually, I do not. I'm hoping that one of the grandkids will have an interest and you know, want to, but I don't know if they really are interested in that. It's, you know, it's kind of, what I do is kind of old school, but still hands-on. And at least with my grandkids, everything is computers. And that's what they want to do. And they've always came and worked in the lab during the summertime. Both of my kids work in the lab during the summertime because I want them to have at least a little bit of understanding of what we're doing and why. But I encourage them to do what they are passionate about. And this is what I've been passionate about. But, you know, my dream doesn't necessarily mean that it's their dream. So that's kind of how that works.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. You know, our son is vice principal over at Jackson High School in Calvin County. Our daughter is the clinical coordinator for the pharmacy department at MedStar St. Mary's.
Yeah, she's a doctor of pharmacy.
Yeah,
yeah.
she has her
So we,
doctorate
you know,
in pharmacy.
family-wise, that's, you know, yeah. We've been very blessed. Very blessed.
Yeah, grandkids. One graduated, Olivia. She's Michelle's oldest child. She's now the, and I hope I get this right, SNAP Vital Coordinator for Southern Maryland. Speaks fluent Spanish. They hired her before she even got out of school. They had given her a scholarship. The last semester she was there, they gave her a scholarship. And she didn't even apply for the job. They just knew what she could do, and they offered her the job, and she's been doing an excellent job of it. Sydney, our son's daughter, graduated from Clark Atlanta, HBCU, and so did our son, Bert. He graduated from Morgan State University, another HBCU. Michelle graduated from the University of Maryland. And so Sydney just graduated from Clark Atlanta, and before she even graduated, she got offered a job down at Disney World in Orlando, Florida, internship there. Our grandson, Bryce, he got accepted to William and Mary. All of them have been on honor roll since high school, college, whatever. So we're very proud of all of them. So he's in his junior year at William and Mary, doing well. So we're pleased how things are going. We're very blessed.
As a matter of fact, I know we're getting a little off point here, but we got a call last week, and he says, "Pop, I'm in Colombia." I said,
"What?"
You know, Colombia. I'm thinking Columbia, Maryland. But no, one of his classmates, one of his fellow teammates, is from Colombia.
He's also on a soccer team down there as well.
And the parents invited him down to Colombia. And I mean, that's not anything particular just to our kids. It's to all kids today. You know, they travel the world in a way that we never dreamed of traveling. Yeah. I mean, if when we were coming along, I had a brother in San Francisco, and we got to go to California, and we thought, wow, this is really, you know, and it was. I'm not to, you know, to take anything away from it, but they see the entire world, and I'm so happy for them. You know, because all we do is sit and worry. Because I tell them all the time, if something happens, I might send you a few dollars, but I can't get to you, you know. But that's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, that's what Sydney Ann had said. I remember when we were at our 50th wedding anniversary. She says, "Grandma and Grandpa, I know one thing. If I'm in trouble, you're going to get us."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, kids nowadays,
very, very, very proud of all of them.
Yeah.
We're blessed.
Yes, we
We're
are.
blessed. Yeah. So tell me, what does a typical day look like to your business?
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. It doesn't look anything like it did 20 years ago, because now I'm only working part-time. I work 4, maybe 5 hours on a busy day. I work 5 hours a day, but right now I work 4 hours a day. But back in the day, when I was working full-time, the days were 10, 12-hour days, which is not unusual for anyone in business. That's what owning and running your own business is all about. It's a lot of long hours and hard work. And I would say that, you know, if your intent is to own your own business, as I've said before, make sure that it's something that you are very passionate about, because you can't do it part-time.
Yeah, because back then, for dinner, I'd have to take dinner out. Oh, we forgot to tell, we built, after
the
business
trail
got established,
Yeah.
we built the lab.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
what he's working out of now, which is close to the house, within walking distance of the house. So back then, when he was doing those long, long hours, sometimes it would run overnight. I would take dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever I told him while he was still working.
Yeah.
Well, as we're going off to a little something different now, as a minority, have you faced any challenges with your business?
Yes. And I would say it was very much what we just said. Listen, owning a black dental laboratory in St. Mary's County 40 years ago, of course there were certain challenges that we had to face, but I must be very honest. We have always tried to be good people. And I'm a firm believer that in life you get what you give. And if you treat people with respect and dignity, in most cases, they will come back to you with that very same thing. And that's what we have done. I'll tell you a little sidebar story. The very first doctor that sent us work in St. Mary's County, he had a young lady who was his hygienist. I didn't know her particularly well, but I found this out later. But she knew Margaret and she knew me from Chaptacon High School. And she told this doctor that I know them and they are good people. And I think based on that, he sent us our first work in St. Mary's County. And this was a white guy. Listen, at that time, I don't think there were any African-American dentists in St. Mary's County 45 years ago. So I knew that, but I felt, and my wife, we also felt, my dad used to say, if you do good work, people will patronize you. And I knew we were doing good work. And we were doing work that they couldn't get done as quickly anywhere else. And that proved to be true.
Became very good friends with them.
Yeah.
Dr. George.
Yeah.
Back then, they were very good friends, like that, right up to the end.
As a business owner, what legacy would you like to leave?
You know, I thought about that question because I saw it on the list. And I want to say, you know, we've always been involved with the community. And over the years, I have to think of some folks. There's an organization, the Minority Business Alliance. I know you've, and it was started by a gentleman named Alma Brown, whom I will never forget.
We were both charter members of getting that set up.
And that was a great, we got to meet a lot of great people. We worked with them. One of them sitting right over there, Nathaniel Lawrence. And there were many folks in that. Miss Esther Smith, she was a beautician here in St. Mary's County. She ran her business for years. There were people, Miss Elizabeth Swales. She was a good business. Your dad, Leroy Thompson. These were all people, Harold Herndon and Catherine Herndon. All of them helped us in one way or another. So, you know, my thing is, as they say, we stand on the shoulders of those folks, and we think about them every day, and we tell our kids about those people, because nobody does it all by themselves.
Well, as a matter of fact, my niece is taking her 2 sons and her mother, my sister Ronnie, on the Civil Rights Tour this week. They're traveling all through Georgia and Alabama and going through all of that. She says she wants to make sure that her children know the history.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Do you feel that you have a responsibility to the community as a business owner? I think you touched on some of that.
Absolutely. I mean, beyond just being a business person, we all have a responsibility. We we do our best to set a good example, to participate, as I said, in those organizations.
He was a member of the Rotary Club.
Yeah, I was a member of the London Rotary Club.
The Housing Authority.
Yes, and those things.
NAACP,
Absolutely.
and UCAC, you
Yeah.
got, you know,
Yeah.
what else in there.
But I think that just being a citizen is where you have to. You can't just sit around and complain about things not being done. You got to get out there and you know, put your 50 cents worth in.
And we out of that when you're there.
And we've always been associated with people that have done that. So we've been very blessed. We truly have. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, this is another community type question. Do you feel that the community relations changed in a positive or negative way?
Well, I think the community is much more positive.
Oh.
But I always see the glass as half full rather than half empty. That's just the way I see it. But I don't think there's any doubt. If you look back on our lives and the way things were when we were kids growing up and how they are today, it is definitely, you know, I think we're moving very much in the right direction. Of course, there's a lot to be done, and I won't get on the political atmosphere of today. But listen, I often tell folks, if you've lived any length of time, you've seen times as frightening or more frightening than they are today. So I'm not so concerned about some of the politics of the day. We're going. This is a strong country, and it's a good country. My dad used to say, "There's nobody in boats trying to leave here. Folks are in boats trying to come here."
Still to this day.
Yeah. So, you know.
What advice would you give someone who's trying to start a business?
Well, I think I said that before, but be ready to work hard. Because if you think working for someone is difficult, wait until you try working for yourself. But again, yeah, as my wife said, be prepared. But again, also be passionate about what you are doing.
That's the number one.
If you love it, when the times get tough, and they will, you'll stick with it. And that's what I would most emphasize is to really, you know, be passionate and love what you're doing.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I think we've pretty much covered everything. I know you guys have done this before, but I think this is, you know, an excellent thing that you're doing, because, I mean, honestly, there are people that I grew up with that I wish to God that I could interface with them today. Have a little, you know, people like your dad, Mr. Leroy Thompson. I talked to him some, but I was young and somewhat naive at the time. But today, if I was to sit down with him and just to have that opportunity, you know, there are guys like Mr. I just found out this man's actual name. We always called him Alec, but his name was Alexander Pag. And he ran up a bar in Leonardtown. He had a lot of rental properties that he had. When we grew up, we thought that he was a very wealthy man, and I'm sure that by the standards of that time, he was. But I'm not sure, I don't know if he came from Alabama or Georgia, but he came there from the South. And he was a businessman, as I said, and he was just a guy that we admired. We were blessed to grow up in the home that we did, because we were exposed to a lot of people like that, you know. So.
Like my father.
Yeah.
Joseph Suter, but everybody knew him as Tom Suter. He had the only African-American car repair here in the county. Yeah. So my nephew is running it now. Yeah. So it's still going.
Yeah. That's amazing. Does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask?
I just wanted to know, how old were you when you started using the name Bert?
Mickey, I was probably, well, I was getting my hair cut, so 7 or 8, something like that. 6, 7 or 8, yeah.
He officially named himself that.
Well, you know, but again, we were country people, and nicknames are quite prevalent, you know. So yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Meredith?
No, it's wonderful.
Well, again, thank you guys.
Very much.
Thank you so very much.